So today I'm going to talk about my Eurorack modular synth system. And in this video I'm going to talk about the journey that I've had so far, a little bit about this revised system that I've now got, and how I intend to use it to go forward in the near future. So if you've been following along on the channel, you'll know that about a year ago, April 2024, I had the opportunity to start working with a modular system. Modular is something that's always interested me. The idea of building your own system, putting together your own musical instrument from components, different things, is very appealing to me. But I'd always ruled it out though, because it's a very complex system. There are so many different modules available, and the ways of putting those together into a system are just endless. So for someone like me, who tends to be quite systematic and thorough about possibilities, modular would not have been a good fit with the type of budget that I had available. I think it would have taken a huge amount of my time and energy to have started to build my own modular system with the type of money that I had available. I was really going down the desktop doorless route, all-in-one groove boxes, ambient guitar, loopers, effects pedals. That was really the way that I was going, and I hadn't really considered modular. But then a different option arose in that I've got a friend, Tony. We've known each other for a very long time, since we were kids, and we've always played music together as well. Going right back to when we were teenagers, we were in bands together. And since then, we've both continued our musical journeys in different ways. Quite a few years ago now, Tony started to look at modular as a possibility for his music making. He's tried out lots of different things, lots of different systems, and modular is his thing now. He performs and records as D1G. You can go and listen to his music, and he uses a modular system that he has designed and built over many years. And because he's been through that big process, he has a lot of modules that he's not currently using in his current case. So he suggested that he could build me a starter system from the modules that he wasn't using, just so I could have a go at modular, see if it suited me, and experiment a bit with it. And obviously for me, that works much better because I wasn't buying the modules, and there was much more limited choice in terms of what could be put together as a system. So that's what we did. And we put together a case. It was this case here, not with these modules in, but it was originally this case, 84 HP, 6U. After my first month of working with the modular, I made a video on the channel. It's one of the early videos on the channel, just when I rebooted the YouTube channel as Whirrings, and I'll put a link up to that 1 month of modular. Over the next month, I experimented, reconfigured, repatched, and slowly learned how to make music with this box of sound tools. And it was a lot of fun. It was really good. It resulted in an album of music, which I called Modular One, that I'd made using the system, and you can listen to on my Bandcamp. After that time, I continued to use the modular and kind of home in on what it was that I liked about it and what I would perhaps like to change and try further. And so last week I went to see Tony again, and we sat down and we built a revised system that was based upon the experience I'd had with the first case. And that is the system that we have here. And it's extended quite a lot. It's now actually 2 cases, and it's 9U now and 84 HP. So this system is 50% bigger than the last system, but actually it doesn't have that many more modules in it because a lot of these modules are quite big in size. And this system is an amazing system, to be fair. It has more of everything, and it has some beautiful modules, a lot of make noise modules. We've got some actual mutable instruments modules in there. It's a fantastic case, and there's a huge amount of possibility in this. So I feel very privileged to have a friend who is willing to lend me his modular gear in this way. And so it's quite exciting. There's more of everything in this case than in the first case. I've got a whole range of oscillators now. There's the really interesting make noise telharmonic. I had the Pony, the Befaco Pony, and the 2 HP kick and hat. They were in the case. And we've now added the kick-all from Befaco and a Platts as well. So quite an expansion in the oscillators. And there's also rings up here, mutable instrument rings. I've actually put this into the effects box. So one thing that I was interested in trying was splitting out the effects into its own small box. There was another power supply available, so I decided to build a small case. I just built this case from scrap wood, a small skiff case that is really just effects, and will allow me to run this case separately as part of my ambient guitar work. So we've mainly got effects in here. There's the dual looping delay, which I've actually done a full video on recently. Rings, which is an oscillator, but also works as a resonator. This is Mutable Instruments Clouds. This is a mini clone of Clouds. The Herb Verb from Make Noise, a small mixer, VCA mixer, and also got some modulation possibilities in here as well. So this small case, I'm aiming to use that as part of my ambient guitar setup, combining it with my other effects boxes and seeing what we can do with that. I'm trying out some filters as well, some more complex filters. The filters in the original case were fairly basic, and we've got some much more complex possibilities here with the Q-Pass and Optimix, MMG, make noise filters, all sorts of possibilities. Then we've got a lot of modulation. We've got the Wogglebug and maths. And I've already got in here an LFO, envelope generators. And then in terms of sequencing, I did consider going down the hardware sequencer route, a more complex hardware sequencer route. But in the end with Modular, I quite enjoy simple sequences. I enjoyed working with marbles previously, so I've expanded that to include a Mutable Instruments clone, a grids. So within this small area here, I've got a lot of sequencing capabilities. I think this is how I'd like to work with sequencing in Modular for now, is with marbles and grids. I've got plans for all sorts of videos for this modular case going forward. There's so much in here, a huge amount of potential and a huge amount of depth. And obviously I'm still very much a beginner at modular, although my aim is always to try and produce finished pieces as quickly as possible. I very much have a beginner's mind approach in that I don't really know how a lot of these modules work in depth. I know the basics. There's an awful lot of learning to do. I mean, recently I made a video on the dual looping delay, and if you look at that video, you can see there how deep and how capable this one module is. and a lot of these modules in this box are that capable. So initially I'm using them almost blind. You know, I have an overview of how they work, beginner's mind, and then I'll slowly over time be looking at the modules in more depth. So if there's anything that you're particularly interested in this box, either combinations of modules, obviously I've got rings into clouds here, which is a very common and popular combination, which I haven't tried, and so, you know, maybe my version would be interesting. I'm open to try things that people are interested in, or to do deep dives into modules that people are interested in. I'm going to do that anyway, so if there's any direction that you'd like me to go, that would be great. So my plan is to make patches very regularly, a few times a week, to spend some time with this modular and intuitively make music with it, while at the same time learning modules more in depth as I go along, in the same way that I did last year. And last year I posted patches, patch notes and excerpts of audio on my Substack site. And I'm going to do a similar thing this year, but it's actually going to be on my Patreon. So if you go to Patreon and you support me there, then as well as lots of things like videos early, all my downloads for free, then you'll also now start to get patch notes and audio from the studio on a regular basis using this modular system. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's an amazingly capable machine, and I hope that I'm going to be able to make some really interesting music with it. I've got quite a definite idea of the type of music that I'd like to make. Even though all of these modules have been around a long time, I think you can always bring a new perspective to this type of equipment. That's what my channel's been about already, really, is that, you know, just because it's not the latest thing, the latest pedal, the latest desktop box, the latest module, doesn't mean that you can't look at it in a different way, in a new way, in a more in-depth way. So while I've got this box, I'm going to make the most of it and try and learn modular a bit deeper this year. So that's the plan. As I say, if you're interested in following along, then please sign up to my Patreon, where you're going to see the most of this modular. Okay, that's it for now, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.